There's a contrast in Scripture between two men that I've really never thought about before. And yet, if you remember back in our study of Acts, in Acts 24, we came across Felix, this leader that the text then says in chapter 24, verse 22 of Acts, then Felix, who was well acquainted with the way, kept on interacting with Paul in a dramatic way. He would continually call him back to have these conversations with what's going on. And that reminds me in so many ways of Nicodemus in John chapter 3, where the text says, he came to Jesus at night. It's interesting here that Nicodemus and Felix now both have this curiosity about the gospel. And here's something I want us to recognize. Curiosity can lead us to Jesus, or it actually can keep us from him. So curiosity is a beautiful thing. I love that our church is surrounded by people who are trying to figure out faith. They're skeptical, they're not real sure, but they hang out, they listen to sermons, they come to small groups, they're involved in study. They truly are curious. They're intrigued by what we are proclaiming about eternity, about life, our worldview, and all those things. I love those who watch online because they're intellectually curious. They want to know. And hopefully all of us have this curiosity about God that causes us to lean in, to read, to consider, to be introspective about our own lives. And if we will do that, for many people, that curiosity will ultimately lead to a conversion where literally God begins to answer our questions, and we never get to a point where we're 100% certain, but instead the overwhelming amount of evidence is that this is true, and our curiosity can lead us to Jesus. It seems as though that's what happened to Nicodemus. He was curious, he went to Jesus, and ultimately he became a follower of Jesus. But get this, Felix had a very similar curiosity, and yet there's no evidence that he ever actually crossed the line. Instead, what seemed to happen with Felix is he was always curious, but never truly willing and able to surrender to the gospel. And in that case, it's a reminder that sometimes our curiosity can actually prevent us from coming close to Jesus. Because we're so curious that we're always around it, we're always thinking about it, we're always considering it, and it feels as though that's enough in some way. But we're never quite willing to submit and say, I'm all in. This is it. And matter of fact, what happens for a lot of people is they're curious and they keep on thinking, I just need one more piece of information. There's just one sticking point that I don't understand. And until I have a total and complete comprehension of everything that's going on, I simply cannot fully believe. But the truth of the matter is, if you're waiting for 100% confirmation for faith, you'll never have it. Because the very definition or nature of faith implies some element of doubt, some uncertainty. Now, it doesn't mean those of us that follow Jesus are just foolish in our choices and decisions and it makes no sense. That's not what faith is. But faith does claim that this is the most overwhelming amount of information is to lead to this conclusion, but it's not 100% certain. And so my fear is there's a good number of people who are curious about faith, but if you look at it, they're in the same place today as they were a year ago, as they were 2 years ago, as they were 5 years ago, and they will in all likelihood be in the exact same spot 2 years from now. Why? Because their curiosity now empowers them to be around it, but their hardened heart is preventing them from actually surrendering to it. Which way is your curiosity leaning today? Is it driving you toward Jesus, or is it actually keeping you from Jesus?